My course focus was SPED 20 online. I think this was important because for society in general, there's just the trend of people becoming less and less physically active and less aware of their poor lifestyle habits and just poor lifestyle choices. This is affecting us on a societal level because our healthcare costs that are related to lifestyle illnesses are rising. Our poor physical health affects the other dimensions of health in our life, such as our mental health, our emotional health, and our social well-being. Usually adults are too ingrained in their habits to make a large change, so at this point we need to support our youth in breaking the trend. This is also personally important to me because I've seen problems with how physical education is run in our schools. During my internship, there were some students who I could tell they wanted to try, but they didn't because just peer pressure, wanting to be cool, and fear of embarrassment and failure in front of their friends. That's why I think the e-learning atmosphere of my design would be helpful because it's free of judgment. So in this design, students that are often marginalized for maybe not being cool or not being friends with the popular kids or looking a certain way, this is an opportunity for them to have a chance to be confident and participate in physical activity like they would want to maybe if they were in a different social situation. This course would also allow rural and urban students to have the same access to this elective because I know that it's not offered in a lot of rural settings, and this would allow students equal access. It also does a great job of addressing the curriculum goal of self-directed learning. Sometimes in a school setting, teachers just fall into a pattern of not letting students discover on their own what they want to do and creating their own plan, especially if you have to take care of 30 to 35 students. But with the e-learning atmosphere, students are free to pursue their own interests and therefore participate in self-directed learning. Some of the highlights of this design that I created is that through the daily, weekly, monthly, and course-long projects, the students will be getting a bunch of different types of feedback, and they'll be able to start directing their own learning based on filling the daily requirements as well as the weekly and monthly ones, just like they would have to do once they're done school. Also, having all the check-in points that I've created allows the students to kind of chart their progress and see how they're progressing as a self-directed learner over time. And they also have the choice to choose their own pursuits. So if they're not as confident playing basketball as they are going for walks, then they can just go for walks until they're a bit more comfortable, then maybe go for jogs or try different types of physical activity. The challenges with this program is that it's difficult to monitor the physical activity because there's no direct supervision, and semester breaks and holiday breaks can be a barrier towards physical activity. So if a student has set a goal, they might not reach it, or they might have a setback during a break because they need to be able to adjust their plan. So that's a challenge. There also might be less physical activity resources for different students depending on where they're coming from. Like different towns and cities might have different resources, different communities have different resources. This is an elective class for grade 11 and 12s. I chose to make it for the older students because they hopefully have a bit more maturity. The older age group might also ensure that they have developed more movement patterns and wouldn't need more hands-on learning and demonstration. They are also allowed access to more facilities just because they're older. They also may have access to a car or a bus pass to transport them to different communities to use different facilities, and hopefully that would also diminish the safety concern just because they're older and they're more aware. The reason it's an elective is because most of the physical activity is not directly monitored by a teacher. So if it's an elective, the students want to be there and are more likely to actually participate in physical activity. Some ethical considerations, the biggest one was digital citizenship. That's another reason why I chose to focus on an older age group. That's because with the increased maturity level, hopefully they would be able to sort of moderate their own comments before they post them. We would also have a week-long discussion similar to what we did in this class, just surrounding digital citizenship and how to conduct yourself when you're having conversations online in a classroom setting and just in general, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to be posting online. I also included an evaluation of course impact in my course design. I think this is really important because I'm personally interested in seeing whether the course is having a lasting impact on these students. The goal of this course was to give students tools to live an active lifestyle, so if they're not using things they've learned in this course, then I would need to change something. Throughout the course, especially after February break and spring break or whatever school breaks there are, I'd want to touch base with the students and just get feedback on whether they maintained their physical activity throughout the break and maintain their progress towards their goals, or if they need more support to be able to do that on their own. I would also want to help them plan for challenges such as breaks or facilities closing during holidays, family trips, things like that. And after the course, I think it's really important to follow up with the students later, perhaps over the summer or the next year, just to see if they're still progressing towards their goals, maybe setting new goals, and just really if this course did have an impact on their life, then they would still be progressing and just get their ideas on ways to improve that or if it worked well or not. The end. Thanks for watching.